cause you been acting reckless. Flood the ring and I bust down the necklace. Doesn't mean a thing, just know I spend it. Doesn't change a thing, just know I spend it on you. Get you Louis if you want it, no, that's nothing, no. You can tell me that it's something, but it's nothing, no. You ignore me, but you're always on that phone. Acting funny, but you tell me that you love me, though. Yeah, you tell me that you love me, though. Wanna believe it, but I feel it, that it's something wrong. Babe, just tell me what's going on. Be my heartbreak, be my one-on-one, be my only one, you're my only love. Be my heartbreak, be my one-on-one, be my only one, you're my only love. Message, hit me now, hope you get the message. Who are you texting? If not me, then babe, who are you texting? Hit me back, I hope you get the message. I was doing me, left you neglected. Now I feel the pain, I feel the tension. I know I did you wrong, it's unexpected. I know I did you wrong, but I still checking on you. Now you tell me that you're leaving, but you frontin' on. Getting done, I'm going out like who you stuntin' for. Girl, stop playing, all I'm saying is when you coming home. Say you hate me, but I really know you love me though. Yeah, I really know you love me though. Wanna believe it, but I feel it, that is something wrong. They just tell me what's going on. Be my heartbreak, be my one-on-one, be my only one, you're my only love. Be my heartbreak, be my one-on-one, be my only one, you're my only love. Message, hit me now, hope you get the message. Who are you texting? If not me, then babe, who are you texting? Hit me back, I hope you get the message.
Sticks and stones may break my bone, but your words can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, I ain't been right more than I've been wrong, and it still can't hurt me. No, it just can't hurt me. No. No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me, no. I know it's hard to be polite, and it's easy being petty. My mama used to tell me, gotta use you when he ready. Man, it's crazy how my brother said it could've been my cell. It's either prison or a grave, that's what everybody tell me. Man, life ain't a beach, it's a female dog. I'm staying 10 toes down, though I still might fall. Oh yeah, now I done came through, knocking pictures off you all. Cause loving people who persecute you, it's still a tough be a light up on my path and a lamp under my feet. I know my faith strong, but my flesh still kinda weak. When that victory be looking like the verge of defeat, and I feel that disrespect, help me turn my other cheek and say, sticks and stones may break my bone, but your words can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, I ain't been right more than I've been wrong, and it still can't hurt me. No, it just can't hurt me. No. No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No. No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me, no. See, it's hard to be polite, it's easy being petty. Mama used to tell me, gotta use you when he ready. Cause I ain't working on my own timing. Ain't got no diamonds on me, but I stay shining. Yeah. They say the world would be a better place if we take out the hate.
Stop all the hate right now.
Yeah. Let's keep it real, it'd be better if we just subtract the fake. Yeah, so be a light up on my path and a lamp under my feet. I know my faith strong, but my flesh still kinda weak. When that victory be looking like the verge of defeat, and I feel that disrespect, help me turn my other cheek and say, sticks and stones may break my bone, but your words can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No, I ain't been right more than I've been wrong, and it still can't hurt me. No, it just can't hurt me. No. No, you just can't hurt me. No, you just can't hurt me. No.
lights are out and you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just remember. Just remember. Just remember. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind. You will climb up high and look through the clouds, and when you're feeling low, I know you'll bounce back. Oh, and just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life throws lemons, just remember. Just remember. Just remember. Just remember. Scars. I'll brush you off just like the dust upon my shoulder. I have a hunch of who you are. Believe it or not, I got the strength to blow you over. I'm a hurricane, I'm bringing thunder and rain. I'm a hurricane if you get in my
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Generation Orange. I'm your host, Mark Segovia, alongside my co-host Sean Ringrose. What's up, Sean? Man, fun weekend we had. I had. I'll let you get to your weekend here pretty soon, Sean. But man, just a little bit flabbergasted, a little bit, man. You know, obviously I was on break from work, and you know when you take a little break from work, you come back and you get double the work when you come back, and that's the unfortunate thing. But we're here, we made it. I'm happy to be here with you, Sean. I'm happy to see you guys on the chat. Shout out to the Twitch listeners, shout out to the YouTube listeners as well. But yeah, Sean, how was your weekend?
I mean, it was a weekend. I mean, you know, I said it earlier. You asked me the question earlier. Nothing to write home about specifically, you know, but it was a weekend. So on to another. That's kind of how it feels with me right now.
No, I got you, man. Yeah, sometimes, you know, you're doing so much for work or whatever, the days just don't even feel like they ever end. They just keep going and going and going. But you know, obviously my weekend was a little bit more adventurous. I will get to that here once we talk about Dynamo and stuff like that. Obviously I was part of the group that went over to Colorado to go support them over there in Dick's Sporting Goods Park. It was a fun trip. I'm not gonna lie. We had a great time. Shout out to everybody from the Surge and everybody else from other groups that showed up. Shout out to all those people who lived in Denver and showed up there with Orange as well. And shout out to the couple that was there in the supporter group with us, and somehow they ended up in that section, but yet they supported the Dynamo alongside it with us.
Hey.
So, you know, shout out to them. But yeah, man, fun time. I'll get a little bit more into detail here once we start talking about it. But yeah, man, lots of going on. Dash Dynamo, new hires on the Dash side, new general manager. You know, obviously call up for international duties for the women's side coming up as well. A lot of friendlies going up. I know our Canadians are going overseas. We thought we were done with the England national team, but apparently not.
Can't escape it, apparently.
Yeah. You know, those guys, you know, they got a little piece of Dash. Now they want some more. So, but yeah, Sean, where do you want to go with this, man? I'll let you drive the wheel today. Drive the car today.
Oh boy, you gave me the yeah, you know, let's start Dynamo. I'm prepared to start Dynamo. They had the better result on the week, so that's got to count for something, right?
For once, man. But you know, what do you want to talk about? The game, or you want to talk about the trip, or what do you want to do, man? I'll let you. Hey, shout out to everybody who went out. Like I said earlier, man, it was a fun time. We had a great time. But what do you want to talk about?
Let's talk. You know, let's talk positive things to kind of open things, right? So let's talk Sebas Ferreira scoring at the absolute death.
Yeah,
final kick of the match against Colorado in Colorado. I gotta know. I asked for some videos or pictures of that moment when he scored. Somebody surely had their camera out when you're in the section. But how was it? What was that like for you guys? I'm sure y'all absolutely lost your ever-loving minds in that moment.
Dude, so, I mean, man, you know, I'm going to tell you honestly, man, I hate how, I don't know if it's the way the teams choose it or whoever gets the form flip or whatever, but obviously the Dynamo ended up on the side where the Colorado Rapids supporter group was at, you know, instead of it being vice versa and stuff and things like that, whatever. But so we were on the other side of the pitch, you know, from the side that Sebas Ferreira ended up scoring the game tying goal on the last 10 seconds of the game, to be honest. But man, it was, bro, like we were excited because honestly, like, you know, I'll tell you from my personal experience throughout the game, you know, it was disappointment, man. I was really disappointed. First and foremost, with the player selection in the beginning to you know start off with, but we're gonna make the most of it, right? We came out here to support. We're gonna show our support. We're gonna show our support. You know, regardless of who was on the pitch and who started, we just needed them to know that that we're there for them, regardless through the ups and downs and all this stuff. And I think we showed out. Shout out to everybody in the Surge, obviously with that huge Surge banner that was on there, that was on display, that you can visibly see from any, hopefully on television, wherever you're seeing it, through the pictures that the Dynamo posted on their social media, or the Surge themselves posted on their social media. Very nice banner to go along with the supporter groups that was there. But yeah, man, when he scored that goal, I mean, I was in the front row of that section the whole time. The 90th plus 4 minutes, right? That last minute, I decided to move up because I was, my wife came along with me. So I wanted to go make sure everything was good with her. I was already kind of like, whatever. And all of a sudden, I just hear, whoo, everybody just yelling. And I look back and I see,
no. You missed the goal.
So I didn't see it per se, but I mean, I celebrated like I did. It was great, to salvage that point. Obviously, any points on the road are good points, and honestly, for the Dynamo, any points in general are good points. But yeah, man, it was a fun atmosphere. It drizzled a little bit, but it didn't matter, man. We had a good time. We were, the tailgate, the little tailgate we had a great time as well. We downed I don't know how many beers, had a great time with everybody that showed up there, that showed support, that were orange. Shout out to Griffin Dorsey's dad who came up to us, and let us know about, him and all that stuff, because, Griffin's from a Colorado native. But yeah, man. And then obviously when I had the chance to go back and look at the play, man, a left-footed shot by Sebas, just shows the quality of a striker that he is, to do that with his left foot, and just shoot at the angle. And, Willem Rialbord isn't just any keeper. He's one of the top keepers in the league. And for him to be tricked on that one, to be kind of stood still, it was a great sight to see. It was a great strike. Shout out to Sebas. Like I said, 9 goals in the season, 10 goals overall. And I can't wait to see Pat and Asher and those guys surround him with talent that can actually give him the ball to actually help to score more goals. Because like I said, I mentioned this to everybody and anybody who would listen. If Sebas had the people, or had the passes, or had the crosses needed this whole season, very easily this guy would be fighting for the Golden Boot right now in MLS, without any shadow of doubt. But yeah, great game, great atmosphere. I was happy to be there, and I can't wait till next year to see where we go next year.
Yeah, so I actually went to the watch party for the Surge up at the Phoenix, hung out with a few of the guys up there. Shout out to G. It was great seeing you out there, G, as always. We had a great time. A couple of pitchers. I think there were 3 pitchers purchased by the end of the night. I kind of lost track, not gonna lie.
There you go.
It was frustrating. Watching on the TV was a little frustrating, because I think, to your earlier point, the lineup was let's just call it for what it was. It was suspect at best. The starting 11, and it was, it continues to be a running theme. And we've beat the dead horse that is, we're not satisfied or happy with what Nagamura has shown as head coach of the Dynamo in 2022. We've talked that, until we're blue in the face. And the fact is, that's not going to change, even if the Dynamo were to suddenly just go on a tear and suddenly win out their last 5 or 6 matches that are left, how many ever they have. But you brought up a point, and that was Sebas is not getting the service that he needs to be a prolific scorer in MLS. I do agree to some extent with that, because if you look at the service that he's getting, it's either nowhere near where he is, and some would say, oh, well, that's a positional thing. It's his responsibility as a striker to figure out where that ball is going to be. But I think the other flip side of that, and it's something we don't talk about a lot, Nagamura rotates players a lot. I don't think we've had the same wingers alongside Sebas for more than 2 or 3 matches in a row. And I've talked about before how, especially when you're a younger player, you need time to build chemistry with your teammates, especially the ones who are either going to be passing to you or that you're going to be communicating with and relying upon for coverage for defense, or in this case, in terms of taking up additional space to pull defenders off you so that you are more free in the box. And,
Sure.
It's clear that Sebas needs that. He needs that level of chemistry to really receive the balls in areas that he can make the most out of them. And we knew that Hector Herrera was not going to be the guy making the distribution in those situations. And Sebas is not a run at the ball on a breakaway and beat a defender and then score. He's not that type of striker. And that's okay. But that doesn't seem to be what Paulo Nagamura wants for his system, whatever. I'm still clueless what his system is supposed to be, because frankly, I don't even know if he knows what his system is supposed to be. It's these like bits and pieces of like 17 different things just kind of thrown into a blender, and then, let's see what pours out when we pour the damn cup. But either way, you also brought up the point about how you're excited to kind of see what Pat and Asher do in this offseason. I agree with you. I think, we've talked about it, that there's plenty of optimism to be had in terms of, we know there's going to be player turnover. How much player turnover, we don't know exactly, but we know that there's roughly 9 players, I believe, who are on expiring contracts at the end of this season, which means that that's at least going to be 9 roster slots that in theory should be feasibly available. Now, the questions come into play of, okay, are any of those players potentially re-signed? Do we make additional trades? Things of that nature. I think if we go into this offseason and we don't make at least a trade or at least 2 or 3 trades this offseason, then I have to question Pat and Asher's approach to building this squad. You can't look at this. Oh, go ahead, Mark. I'll wait.
No, yeah, I mean, you have to look at the mechanisms available to you. I mean, in-league trades are a high possibility because, realistically speaking, I mean, you'll have one DP spot open, right? Maybe 1 or 2 U22 spots open, depending on what they do with the other players occupying those spots currently. But aside from that, I mean, we bring in talent from other countries, whatever, and whether or not they pan out or whether or not we can identify good talent at a fair price, which means like make them like a high TAM player or whatever, without having to go into that DP threshold. That's one thing where I think we need to focus on, like obviously Hector and Sebas are the top echelon of our team, right? That's our point of our arrow. And then, we have the bottom, which are our depth players, Dynamo B players, whatever. But it's that middle part of the team that really needs to be upgraded and enhanced, and thus making it more much more of a feasible squad for MLS play currently, because currently we don't have that, honestly. Like our middle pack of our players, to be honest, would be lower end players and these high end teams that are fighting for playoff positioning right now or championship contenders, And with that being said, I mean, where Asher and Pat might have an idea of a highly talented player to fill that DP spot, that's great. Obviously, we need as many highly talented players that we need, highly skilled players. I'm sorry, that's the word I was looking for. Highly skilled players that we can afford. But the thing is, after that one player, I mean, it's we're not a team where we're one player away, Sean. That's the problem I'm having with it, right? Because like I said, we can hit on that DP spot, and you can bring in a winger or a 10 that's going to provide the ball to Sebas, and Sebas is going to turn into a 15, 20 goal scorer. He'll have that new player will have anywhere between 10 goals, 10 assists plus whatever, and then obviously Hector's going to do Hector, and he's going to be manning the midfield. But after those 3 players, if we don't have that level of that backbone of the squad or spine of the squad isn't upgraded and hardened and more talented and more skilled, then we're kind of just in the same place. We got a highly talented player, but it doesn't matter if we're being scored on, if our back four is still playing clumsy, or or if our midfield is still not able to transition from offensive to defensive and vice versa. We're still having those issues. Then that's not going to really work. but I mean, yeah, it's just to piggyback off what you said as far as the rotating wingers and rotating the rotation that Naga is doing right now, Nagamura. It is a little sus. I mean, because to be honest, look, just go with who you're gonna go with, man. You know, I mean, look, you have what, a handful of games left, maybe 5, 6, 7 games left. Just go with who you believe are the best of the best, and to pair up there with Celis, and see if there's any kind of chemistry that can be built on that for next season. Because look, whether it's Bear and Memo, which I'm hoping after this game, which I'm hoping after this game, it's the end of that. But you know, like I said, knowing Nagamura, who knows? But
we're about to have 6 straight games, nothing but Corey Baird and Memo Rodriguez up top on the wings.
Oh man, you know what? You don't want to see you didn't want to see the look on my face when I saw that lineup, man. but anyways, but I mean, if it's Thor and Fafa, or you know, or Quinones, now that he's on the squad, I mean whoever, go with those guys and let them build a chemistry, you know. Because like I said, whether or not those guys come back for next season or they don't, so now it's irrelevant to me. Honestly, it's really irrelevant. If one of those guys get some kind of chemistry with Sebas, that's great. Maybe you resign them and, you know, use them as a depth player. But I mean, but other than that, any of the wingers or current wingers that we have that's their main position, I don't see them having a future with the Dynamo. Keon is obviously being the exclusion because he's just barely coming in, but like I don't see them going further with us, and you know, unless you feel differently, Sean.
No, I mean I do agree with you. I think there's, you know, I think and we could, you know, and we talked about it I think last show as well, that you know, we didn't see a lot of movement in the summer window, where we kind of expected some more movement than we saw. We saw like 1 or 2 players, you know, shifted. But we expected a little more than that, considering the shape of the team, the state of the team at the summer window. I think there's something to that. And I think, you know, this may be me coming at it from the perspective of a Tottenham Spurs fan. And I'm bringing this up. There's a good reason, because it'll correlate and you'll appreciate it. But you know, Spurs did not back Jose Mourinho. They spent a good amount of money, but they didn't spend a lot of money on players in the window when Jose Mourinho was in charge. The same thing happened following Jose Mourinho. It did happen when Antonio Conte first got there. He wasn't backed in that first window. He got 2 players, in Dejan Kulusevski and Bentancur. And Antonio Conte took those players that he was given, and he made the most of the roster that was available to him. He did say repeatedly, this roster is not good enough to compete for a title in the Premier League. This roster isn't good enough to compete with the top 6 in the Premier League. And I think that was a valid statement. But hold on, Mark, I think you'll appreciate this. But what happened was he proved that with that roster as it was constructed, he could still get more out of those players than what his predecessor did with the same players with just 2 additions. And I have to wonder if maybe to some extent that Tottenham saw that and said, you know what, we are going to back Antonio Conte in this window. They have spent so much money. Daniel Levy and Fabio Paratici have done an amazing job this in the summer window. That, I mean, they've made, I can't even, like, the moves they've made have blown me away as a Spurs fan, because I've never seen anything on that level for Spurs before. And it's not just because they had the money, but it's because ownership was willing to back a coach and a general manager / technical director that had already shown they could make moves that were a net positive for the club. And I have to wonder to some extent, if we're going to go into this offseason, and if Ted maybe has a little bit tighter reins on Pat, Asher, and Paulo than we expect, purely because from what he's seen so far, there is not the improvement there with the players that they've brought in. There is not a substantial increase. And why would you financially back a system or a group of people, even if you trust and believe in them? Why would you financially back them if they're proving that even with what they already have, they still can't even compete? Let alone, I mean, forget talking about top of the table. Forget talking about the top 6 or top 12. I mean, hell, I'd be happy competing for the final playoff spot, which has us like 18th to 20th, in the league. I mean, it's ridiculous right now. But I have to think that maybe there's a little bit of that coming into play, which is that Ted is not seeing the return on his investment because he sees that the people that he's got in charge right now, whether it's him viewing it as Pat and Asher or also the addendum of Paolo Nagamura, but they're not getting the most out of the investments that he's making. And if they're not going to get the most out of the investments he's making, why would he continue to funnel further money into that part of the club?
Yeah, and I have to agree with you wholeheartedly. I mean, like we've talked about this before. I mean, obviously we know that the players have to perform, right? And for the most part, the players have to go out there and do what their duty is and responsibilities on the pitch. But at the same time, the coach is responsible for the players that he puts out there and the tactics and putting them in a position that's going to make them successful. And I haven't seen that. We haven't seen that. And if anybody has, please let me know, because I mean, I've been to the Dynamo games. I've watched them on TV. I've been at the games. I mean, I've been to 3 road games. So I mean, like it's one of those things where I'm not seeing it. Into your point that you're making, it's true. Look, when you bring a coach like, let's say, Antonio Conte, just to go based off the example you're saying, he had the same squad that Nuno Santos.
That was the other one I couldn't think of. Thank you.
Had to start the season. Which had minimal additions, 2 players, whatever. Who one of them, ended up being a factor. The other one was minimal, whatever. But with that, he still put the players in the positions that he saw best fit, changed his tactics up, and put those players in a position to perform at the best level to their talent, right? Now, if the players didn't perform, that's another thing. But the players performed, and that's why they ended up in top 4 in Champions League position, right? And obviously, the front office saw that, and they said, you know what? We're going to back this guy because his 2 previous predecessors, even though both of those guys had names and prestige prior to them coming to Tottenham as well, they didn't perform. And it's one of those things where, look, if you could have Sir Alex Ferguson coaching the Dynamo, if he's not performing, I mean, you can't keep him here. A name alone isn't gonna carry this. The only way this is fixable is the Dynamo winning and competing in the playoff and competing for championships. This is the only way this thing ever gets fixed. There's no, because we're going to put new chairs into the stadium, because we're going to put fans in the stadium, or because we signed a Mexican player, or because we did this or this. Like, all that is great, but that's beating around the bush. The only thing that matters to us fans, supporters, whatever you want to call yourselves, is a winning product on that pitch, and we haven't had that. That's the frustrating thing about us right now. Like, that's the frustration as a fan, supporter of the Dynamo. Look, I'm so happy that Ted came in, purchased his team, has a vision, brought in Pat, brought in Asher, has done a great job with the dash, all that. Everything that I've seen from Ted has been positive, and I don't want to belittle that, because it's all been great. Don't get me wrong. The way that he's been out there with the crowd. I'm meeting him during the tailgate. His presence out there has just been phenomenal. And like I said, by no means am I trying to belittle that. But at the end of the day, we as fans, we want a winning culture here. We want a winning squad in PNC, regardless if I'm sitting on mesh chairs or if I'm sitting on a bench stool. It doesn't matter. What I want to see is a great product on the field. And just to go back to what you said, I mean, if Paulo isn't showing improvement with the squad that he currently has, we knew, look, this squad was 80% return from last year, right? With the exception of Thiago, Sebas, obviously Hector, and Quiones. But with all that being said, there hasn't been any improvement. And realistically, I think there's been
regression.
Regression.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel that Paulo has lost the team. I don't. Well, it's funny because I mentioned it to the guys, when we were in Colorado in the stands, and it's like, if I'm a team, man, and I see a group of people, even though we suck, and we see these group of people, coming out to support us, like I would be like enthusiastic, like, man, look, man, these people are paying their hard-earned money just as a professional, just as having pride within myself as a professional, and having the support of these people coming in, to see me, like I feel like I would be more engaged. And honestly, I didn't feel that. Like, I didn't feel that. Not that they need to or have to or care about the fact that we came out there to see them, but I just didn't feel that. I didn't feel that.
Yeah, there's a lot of points in there, and I like a lot of them because I think a lot of them are spot on. But I'm gonna read actually what C said. He said it's wild how different vibes would be if we were even just outside playoff line. At least that's some sort of measurable progress. To your point,
yes,
Mark. We're not only are we not seeing measurable progress, we're seeing measurable regression. We're seeing movement backwards, not forwards. C also went on to say at this point it's just the FO saying we like this guy, and then his response is yeah, but why? And I think that's a valid question. There was a question asked about Baird if he would still be under contract at the end of the season. I still think he's going to be under contract. I think he's got one more year on his contract. But again, it's difficult because contract years are never specified in any sort of releases or anything publicly. Any information on that is usually leaked from either the player, the agent, or the front office.
But you know what's funny, Sean? I'm sorry to cut you off.
You're good.
The reason people might say, oh, but compared to this time last year, we have a couple more points to left. That, like I said, that doesn't matter. That the positioning matters.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, not to say that if we still had Tab Ramos, it would be better. Or I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that he did more with a lot less last season.
Yeah, he didn't have Hector. He didn't have Sebas.
I mean, think about it, man. He didn't have a true number 9. Manotas was sold. Albert Feliz was gone. He had the drama with Kyoto. Not Kyoto, Quintero with Darwin. He had a lot of stuff going on, during that time.
He didn't have a whole lot of matches with Coco either. That wasn't until halfway through the season.
He didn't have a whole lot of matches with Coco. No teenage. Things of that nature. He had
Valentin starting out right. Come on.
Valentin scoring goals on his own team. So it's one of those things where like you're like, man, did we make the right move here? I mean, like I said, not to say that he would have been any much better than what Paulo's doing, but sometimes now, obviously, you look with how things have gone because you just see the progression of the season going along, and the attitude and passion that the fans had at the beginning, or even in a third of the way, it's just not there anymore. Like, we had this whole upward trajectory of like, man, wait till Hector Herrera gets here. It was all built up, and then that climax of Hector Herrera getting here, and everything that happened and went along with that was great. But then after that, it's been boom, like it just boom. The bottle fell out, and we all fell through the hole, and we were all just dumbfounded. Like it's crazy. But with that being said, I mean, I know publicly and obviously in the new press conferences and whatever reports that they have with whatever media outlet or whatever interview that they have, I know that the front office, Pat, and those guys have to back their coach. They can't belittle their coach. They can't make them seem small to their players, right? I understand that. But with that being said, I hope at the end of the year with the off season, the right decision is made. Now whether I don't know what the right decision is. I know what decision I would make, but would that be the right decision? I don't know. Like I said, right now we're playing Monday morning quarterback because we're obviously seeing the results with what's going on. But who knows? And it's one thing to trust a coach like Antonio Conte who improves a failing team as opposed to trusting a coach like Paulo Nagamura, who had a failing team and he's made them look even worse with was a little bit of better quality players on that squad. So it's going to be a very, very interesting winter. Obviously, the World Cup is going to have a lot of attention this winter, and then after that, I think full focus will be on the winter transfer window, seeing what Dynamo do as far as being a Dynamo fan, seeing who they bring in, because we see all the moves that's happening around MLS, Sean.
There were a lot. A lot
of moves, a lot of fantastic moves. I mean, and obviously Hector being one of those, but just how the top echelon of the league just keeps getting better and better. And you know what that means? We keep getting further and further and further away from those guys.
Yep.
So it just makes it that much harder, and it's going to make it that much longer process to try to catch up to those guys, because these guys, even though they're the top of the top, they're not satisfied with that. They're still they want to keep growing and growing and growing. Like these Seattle Sounders, LAFC, shit. I even hate to say it, throwing Austin in there, Philadelphia, whoever. These guys, they're competing for MLS Cup. That's great. But these guys, they want to go after CONCACAF Champions League. They want to compete in the Club World Cup. They want to do all those other things. They're looking beyond MLS, and we're just trying to get into the playoffs and MLS. So there's different levels to this, and I'm hoping that this offseason, man, it's a pivotal one, and I hope that they have more hits than misses, because if they have more misses than hits, it's going to be short-lived for that front office. Even though we have all the love in the world for Pat and Ash and those guys, but at the end of the day, this business drives on results.
Yeah, for sure. And, it's, I think what makes it more of a struggle is the fact that we had reasons to get hyped for the season. We had reasons to feel like things were moving forward. We had reasons to feel like we were finally turning that corner, not only before the season, but I even think like partway through the season, because we had that hope of Hector Herrera on the horizon up until the midpoint of the season. And even when he came in that first match, that vibe, that feeling, that swagger that the team played with when he first stepped on that pitch, it's been unrivaled for the remainder of the season so far. And I can't understand how you go from that verve and that swagger in 30 minutes of Hector being on the pitch to suddenly having none of it anywhere on the pitch. I mean, and it wasn't like it was a progression. It was literally the very next game the team came out flat.
And I'll tell you one thing, Sean. I think it might have happened the game before Hector Herrera, the Charlotte game, because if I remember telling you at the beginning of the season, I told him, look, I'm not expecting Hector to come in and solve all the problems, right?
Sure, absolutely.
What I'm not expecting him to be a goal scorer, nor am I expecting him to be a high assist man. He's only had one assist. He has no goals up to this point, right? So, that's not his position, right? So we see the level of difference of player that he is on the pitch, right? But I mentioned it earlier in the year. If this team is hovering around the playoff line, and Hector comes in, and then depending on whatever else they want to add, at the time it was with Thiago and obviously now Quiones, whatever, we might have an opportunity at this. I remember the Charlotte game where we were hovering, and if we got that win, we were going to be right there. I think it was going to be like 7th or 8th places, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, we would have moved into 7th. I think it was.
We would have been right there, and have that win along with the hype of Hector coming in. I think it would have built. But to have that loss against an expansion Charlotte team, which was their first road win ever as a franchise, and for them to have less talent than we have, supposedly, but I mean, who knows up to this point, because they're doing a whole lot better than we are. It was just one of those, it just drew us back.
Yeah, and it was against a team that had just gotten rid of their coach too. I don't know if you remember that.
Exactly. And to just falter like that, it was one of those things where, like, damn. I mean, like, it was on a platter for you. The expansion team of the league is coming in. You're one game away from having the biggest player come into your team, you're gonna if you would have won this game, you're gonna have a full packed stadium the next week against your main rival FC Frisco. The story was being written. It was, it could have been, it couldn't have been written any more perfectly if I had, I don't know, William Shakespeare write it, and it just didn't happen. It didn't happen. How as players, as professionals, do you let something like that happen? How do you, as a coach, not have your team prepared for a match like that?
Yeah. Well, and it's not just that match, obviously, but it's been a trend. It's been a consistent trend throughout the entirety of the season. There's a lot of speculation around a lot of things, and I think that's all we can do because, and to be fair, if I was in Pat and Asher's shoes, I'd probably be saying the same things that they're saying. But, because we don't get anything from the front office in terms of, I think realistic talk, it is a little bit of a struggle. And that brings me to something I wanted to bring up. Glenn Davis on his show, he effectively called out fans saying, or, maybe it wasn't him, maybe it was Victor, maybe it was both, I don't know. But either way, there's been a sentiment that it falls to fans to be the voice that encourages change to happen. Victor brought it up on the post-match recap on Sunday. And talked about how, if media is not going to be that pressure for the Dynamo front office, that fans need to be the pressure for the Dynamo front office. And I call bullshit on that. I legitimately call bullshit on that because the fans already were the voice. That's how Matt Jordan got out. And if the fans have to be the voice again, then, I have a problem with that. Like, yes, the fans need to, the fans should be, able to speak their mind. And I don't think there's any question they are. Just because you're not listening and hearing what they're saying doesn't mean they're not saying it. They may not be saying it with big ass banners and posters and signs, but trust me, they're saying it. The talk is out there.
Look, the fans, and the thing is, they might not hear it because it's so little bit of us left over, that actually care, know. And that's a sad thing to say because, look, think about it. Last year we had the whole Jordan out, hashtag Jordan out, whatever, all this stuff. And to be honest, it's one of those things where it had to be something that had to be done. So, I don't even feel it was really like, we pressured them to do it, whatever. It was something that was inevitable. It was going to happen.
Yep.
It was going to happen. So I don't really they listen to the fans because, they fired him, whatever. It's not, nah, man, it's something that was going to happen. He only had 4 or 5 games left in the season. Who cares? He was a lame duck. That's all that was. Where I would have appreciated, like I said, was in the coaching search. If they really cared about what we said, look, we need an experienced coach here, I understand, look, as a general manager in any sports, whether it be football, basketball, soccer, obviously, that you want to have say in the team, but you're for your front office, man. The front office and team staff, they're apart. You have your times where you get together, but as far as team staff and players go, they have to have a trust and they have to have a respect for that person that's leading them. Excuse me. And there's no trust right now.
No, none. Zero.
There's no confidence in the leadership on the team staff. Excuse me. And it's one of those things where, we can go make the banners say whatever Naga out or whatever we want to say, right? But at the end of the day, it's up to the front office and Ted to understand that, to really have an understanding of what this squad needs, and for Victor or Glenn, and I'm not saying that they said this, I don't want to put words in their mouths because, like I said, I didn't listen to the interview, so I'm not sure what he referred to. But if they said it's up to the fans to be loud and boisterous, it's, maybe we're not as loud as we used to be because there's so little bit of us. Look, you and me, we've been hosting this podcast for about 4 or 5 years now, and it's been all losing seasons.
Yep.
You know, we know other guys that do podcasts, Dynamo podcasts. They do spaces on Twitter. There's people out there speaking about it, and they're having the same discussions that we're currently having right now.
Yep.
You know, over and over and over again, just recycling. Is just, like I said, I feel sometimes the show we do is the same show that we've been doing the last couple of weeks, because it's just going on top of the negatives, on top of the negatives, on top of the negatives, because there's so very little bit of positivity involved with Dynamo as far as team performance or team quality. And that's that to say. You know, like, look, I'll be one of the first ones. Look, I can't see next season starting with Nagamura as our coach. I know I've had talks with other people during the trip with, you know, and other people have asked me about it. You know, am I Naga in, Naga out? If you put guns to him right now, I'm Naga out. He hasn't shown me anything that he hasn't shown me anything that he is tactically superior than the other manager across from him, or that he brings anything special to the team or anything. You know, to be honest, like I said, I feel that he's lost the squad. And yeah, maybe 50%, 60% of the squad doesn't return next season. But if you bring him back in and then he loses the next squad that comes in next season, then what? Then
you're 2 to 3 years out from ever being competitive again. At least
because those are supposedly the more talented players that you're bringing in, and now we're losing those players.
Yep.
I mean, just think of the talented players that were lost during the Wilmer era, during the Tab era. There were talented players that have gone on to do wondrous things in other leagues.
Yeah, or other teams in the same league.
Or other teams, yeah. I mean, dude. Matt, remember how much we used to smack on Tommy Magomed?
I was thinking about Tommy Mac. Yes, sir.
You know, he out there doing a thing.
Cheeseburger mac and cheese, baby. Let's go. Yeah. Go get you some water. Go get you some water right now. I can see you like dying over here. No, yeah. I mean, there have been players that have gone on and done better things with other teams, different teams. But I think that's a symptom of, you know, a symptom of the problem, right? It's a symptom of the systemic issue, the systemic, you know, culture-ish issue that's going on. And you know, you brought up that the players have you know, they've lost trust in Nagamura. They don't believe in Paolo. At least that's kind of what it seems like from the outside looking in. And I think that's fair. I think that, you know, if Pat was probably being truly honest, he'd probably say, yeah, I don't really truly 100% believe this is the right guy, but he's the guy that I've got. He's the guy that I've saddled myself with. He's the guy, you know, he's the horse that I'm riding into the sunset. We'll see how it works out. But I think the thing here, yeah, Bruin and Wando and, I mean, there have been, you know, D-Row went on and did big things. Stu went on to Prem League. Kai Kamara's still scoring goals.
He's still scoring goals.
I can't believe Kai Kamara scored another freaking goal, man. He's like 50. No, he's not really that old. Please, Kai, don't look me up. But I love Kai. Kai's a fantastic guy, fantastic player.
Love him.
And Andre Haino just retired like last week. My dude was on the championship team like in 2007.
But you know, Sean, it's just crazy because I mean, you know, it's one of those things where, like, how do we keep going with this? I mean, it's just gonna take a complete, just flat out get rid of everybody. Like I don't even because like think about it, Sean. We just praised Sebas for, you know, his ninth goal in the season. You know, even though he's having not a really great season because of, you know, the coach that is not helping him succeed.
Dude hasn't even here's the struggle. Dude hasn't even cracked double-digit goals, and we're praising the guy because he's the best player on the team in terms of attacking wise.
And yet he's not started for like 7 games. He hasn't played like in 3 or 4 because of the coach's decision. I mean, think about it. Like Sebas literally would be in double digits right now if it were just Naga playing him because he's our franchise player alongside Hector.
Yep.
You play him. He's one of the first names on the sheet, you know, regardless, because just on pure talent alone, he can make something happen on pure talent alone. We've seen it. We've seen bits and pieces of it, you know, but the talent around him is so depleted that he can only do so much. But like I said, like as a coach, And as a supporter, how can I support you as a coach when you take away your best player for no reason?
Look, it was the same thing we got pissed off at Tab about with Quintero.
With Quintero, yes,
it's the exact same thing. And it makes, I'm just sitting here again, I come back to this, right? You've had two coaches now that did the same thing with two different players, exact same thing with two different players. They've had similar results. And, Tab was given 2 years. Nagamura, I hate to say this, but I have a feeling he's going to be given a second year as well. We're all going to loathe it in the offseason. It's going to suck at the beginning of the season. I can almost guarantee it. Or they're going to come out like wildfire at the beginning of the season, and then by summer they're going to be tapering off again. Either of those is going to happen. I guarantee it.
What I'm going to hate is the next summer transfer window, Sebas being sold to some Liga MX club because he didn't make it in MLS, and it's a shame because look, you have Christian Ramirez, double-digit goal scorer in Europe.
Yep.
Alberto Liz knocking it out in Portugal, France. Mauro Manoto is doing his thing in Liga MX for his Achilles, whatever, tear, whatever. Excuse me. And it's just like we're losing talent and not getting anything back.
Yep.
And I feel we're going down the same road, and we're going to do the same thing to Sebas, where he's shown that, dude, his first season in, like I said, only started like 60, 70% of the games, already a double-digit goal scorer, if you want to include his goal with in the U.S. Open Cup or whatever, with sorry talent around him.
Yeah.
Like I said, if this guy was in Seattle's Sounders right now, 20 goals easily, Sean. I put money on that. 20 goals easily. He would be leading the league in goals right now.
I don't disagree.
And that's the type of talent you have.
Yep.
So when you have that type of talent, if you see what he's doing with the talent that he has currently right now, then why would he not be the first name on the sheet every single game? Why wouldn't he be? Why would you ever think, because he's not having any chemistry with Fafa or with Mambo or with Baird, for goodness sake, who cares about those guys? This is your cornerstone player. This is your franchise player along with Hector. Him and Hector should be the first names
on that sheet every week.
Every game, regardless of what the situation is, regardless of what's going on. If they're not dying, if they don't have some kind of injury, their names should be the first names on that list. Every game, point blank, and no excuses.
Yeah, I'm with you. We could continue to beat this dead horse. I mean, being real, being honest. We could literally spend another, and we will, because we've got more shows left in the season, and it's not going to change dramatically enough for us not to have these kind of conversations. But I do want to make sure we give enough time to truly talk about
the best team in soccer,
the best team in Houston soccer right now. Mm-hmm. The only one that is currently in a playoff position. Ooh, how do you like that?
For two, tied for second.
Tied for second. Technically, we are in third, but tied for second. Yeah. The Houston Dash, who are making moves, not just sitting on their laurels, not just resting on the players that they have. Look, you made the point of not getting players to, you lose talent and not getting players to replenish that talent. We just lost, Houston Dash just lost Rachel Daly. Yeah, Dynados is a good shout out. Rachel Daly, the greatest Dash player in the history of the Dash so far, the legend herself, if you will. Mm-hmm. Although some might say Jane Campbell is going to potentially be up there in that same conversation. But, you lost her back to England. And I think, again, I can't fault her for that. I can't question her reasons for that. I think it's totally fair. I think it's totally, a viable explanation, and I'm okay with it. Yeah. But what was the thing that the Dash did? It wasn't even 3 weeks later, and we've got announcements for not just one player. They already made another move for a player before the announcement, but two players after the announcement came out that Rachel was going overseas again. We got Valerie Galvin, mm-hmm. I don't know how to pronounce it, a forward that we traded for. And we picked up Caprice Didasco.
My new favorite player.
An amazing player. Love her at outside back, one of my favorite outside backs in the league. So picked up players to replenish the talent that was lost, and that is not even accounting for, I said it, but it's not even accounting for the fact that the team already made the move to bring in Ebony Salmon before that, who is absolutely playing like she doesn't just belong on this team, but that she's ready to essentially make this her team. She is playing like we all wished Sebas Ferreira would be able to play if he had the level of service that Ebony Salmon has had from her teammates, man.
Can I bring Maria Sanchez and Shea Groom to the Dynamo? Maybe, so they can get it across us?
Hey, I'm not even kidding when I say this. I guarantee they would play with a hell of a lot more fight than the boys showed.
Yeah, man. But with that being said, let me give you the poll question of the day before we carry on with the dash, because it is dash related. Obviously Ebony Salmon, congratulations to her being recalled for the England national team. Obviously, England have a love for the Houston Dash, and the Houston Dash have a love for England national team players. But hopefully, we did punch that round trip ticket, not just one way like we do it daily. But with that being said, Ebony Salmon has been on fire. We can't deny that. With 5 games to go and 4 goals behind Alex Morgan for the Golden Boot, the Sheet achieved the Golden Boot, Sean. She's played 8 games with the Dash, 8 goals. Alex Morgan currently has 12 goals and a lot more games. I forgot to see how many games she's played in. But obviously 5 games left. I think she's going to miss 1 due to international duty, I'm sure, or whatever. But with that being said, Sean, what do you think? The way she's been scoring goals, she doesn't just score 1 goal a game. She's had a hat trick. She had a couple braces. Obviously she had a goal the last game against San Diego against Alex Morgan. Unfortunately, they lost that game at home 3-1. But she's still scoring the ball, man. And like I said, she's getting the service provided needed to score the goals. And shout out to Maria Sanchez and Shea Groom. Them doing their jobs and providing it for her, making her welcome to Houston that much easier. Look, man, we've only had 1 double-digit goal scorer in our whole entire career for the Dash, and that was Rachel Daly at 10 goals. And this young lady, she's come in and she's taken the ball and she's run with it. I'm not talking run with it. She's speeding around 6'10" at 100 miles per hour. that type of speed. And look, man, I know it's an outside shot, and I know it's a long shot, but man, I feel if she keeps getting the service, she keeps going, I feel like she can for sure. She'll get double digits, easy goals. Now the question was, will she get the Golden Boot? Obviously, that depends on what Alex Morgan does, and I forgot the player that's ahead of her in second place. But yeah, man. But Ebony, she man. What a pickup.
Yeah, absolutely. She's playing lights out. You've already talked about that. I think it's very possible. Evil, brought up the point. I think Ebony gets a chance to play against the U.S. women's national team in October when they travel overseas to play against England at Wembley. Yeah, I do. I think Ebony gets a definite shot. I don't know if she'll start, but she probably will get subbed on for that match. You can't look at a player like that playing in the best women's league in the world, bar none, no question. And doing things that she's doing against the level and talent of players that she's doing it against, you can't question it. You can't, as a coach, you can't go, oh, well, that's against NWSL players. That'd be like somebody going, oh, well, that's against Premier League players. Like, that's not really showing me anything. Come on, no, that's showing me something. So, yeah, I do think she's going to get a shot. And again, I don't think she's going to start because I don't think she's built that chemistry yet with any of those players, but I do think she'll get some sub minutes, and I think that, honestly, I wouldn't be shocked to see her potentially nick a goal and shock a U.S. women's national team, moment at Wembley, which would be, that would be just incredible for her. But to the point, though, is that the Dash have not sat around waiting for things to happen. They have gone out and made things happen this season, whether it was in terms of moves made to replenish for talent lost, moves made to finally ink a coach, whether that is, an interim coach in Juan Carlos Amoros, who we all know, I don't care what you say, the guy is the long-term coach for the Houston Dash. Whatever happens and is determined with the James Clarkson situation, ultimately we know, and this is speculation, I don't have anything to back this up, but we know that James Clarkson is not going to end up returning to the Houston Dash as a head coach. He might return in a different role, potentially. I doubt that's going to happen, but if it does, it does. With that being said, it's going to be Juan Carlos's team from this moment on, his and Sarah Loudon's. And look, I mean, the Dash didn't just wait. They went out and found a coach that was the perfect coach for NWSL, for women's soccer, for Houston women's soccer, for the Houston Dash, with a roster that was already constructed that for the most part works with this system very well. And I have to think, with all these things being said, there is room for the Dynamo to do the same things. There is room for the Dynamo to look at their counterpart sisters and go, damn, they doing the damn thing. Maybe we need to start doing the damn thing too.
I mean, looking at this from this point, Sean, I mean, look, you bring in a coach who's coached in the other two leagues who can compete with NWSL as far as saying they're the best women's league in the world, right? La Liga, his time doing Real Betis, and obviously the Women's Premier League, you know, during his time with Spurs. And it's one of those things where, like, you're bringing an experienced coach. This is what happens. Players want to come play for an experienced coach. You know, players want to come and play for somebody who understands what they're doing and going to put them in the best position to succeed. The Dash obviously had got to this point, you know, and shout out to Clarkson for getting it for the ground from working from the ground up, because, you know, obviously the Dash were at a similar position as the Dynamo, you know, always being a bottom feeder team. They were making some playoffs and this and that. And it took Clarkson coming in and doing the hard work with him and his staff to bring up the Dash to a certain level. Unfortunately, the situation with whatever investigations going on happened with him, and it happened, and it's an unfortunate thing. But, you know, the front office for the Dash saw that, and they knew the next coach they needed to bring in needed to build on that. There couldn't be a regression, because if there would have been a regression, then hope would have been lost to the Dash, right? They did the right thing. They brought in an experienced coach with a lot of recognition and accolades. And look what he's doing now. I mean, the dude Juan Carlos Amores is just he's driving his Dash bus right into the playoffs, and hopefully right to a championship, you know. And I'm excited for these girls, man. I'm excited for these ladies. I'm excited for the franchise. You know, and I feel like we need, like, not just myself and us, Sean, as a podcast, but I feel like just the community in itself needs to focus. I feel like we need to be focusing a little bit more on the Dash, you know, and what they're doing, because look, the Dynamo, I mean, it is what it is already, right? I think we've already put the nail in the coffin that the playoffs are non-existent for us, you know, and it's not going to happen. And obviously there's a lot of disarray over there. But these ladies, man, they're killing it. They're killing it. It's an unfortunate thing that they lost their last game against the San Diego Waves. I mean, they would have really solidified themselves as one of the first or second place position in the table. But I mean, it is what it is. Look, the league is a tough league, you know, not only with Portland, not only with San Diego, the Los Angeles team. I mean, you have a tough league, and for the Dash to be doing what they're doing and competing the way they do and not giving up, it's man, I have to applaud those girls and congratulate them for the job well done to this point, and the job well done they're going to do once they get into these playoffs. And I'm excited for them.
You know, maybe it's all part of Ted's long-term plan to make the Dash relevant in Houston soccer, right? We might have the Dynamo just continue to suck for a few more seasons while the Dash elevate themselves to unprecedented levels in the city. And then that way the Dash can get the full shine that they deserve for a couple of seasons while we build that fan base back up. And then,
look, Sean, I'm sorry to cut you off, but I'm old enough, and I'm sure, and I know you are, to remember when the Comets were winning championships and the Rockets were in the first, you know, picking first or second in the draft.
That's a long time ago, but I remember Cynthia Cooper and all them. Yes, sir.
Like, trust me, the Dash make a championship run. I mean, there's support out here for women's soccer. It's just, you know, nobody knows about it. The marketing prior to this season hasn't been really up to par, whatever. But if a championship comes out of this season, trust me, next season you're going to see a big boom in attendance and stuff like that. So winning cures all, and those ladies are winning, and they deserve our attention. They deserve they deserve our money to go to them, and for us to be there present, cheering them onto this championship. So
hey, look, if Glenn Davis thinks that the fans of the Dynamo need to make a statement, maybe the best statement you can make is to tell the front office that you're not renewing your season tickets for next year. You're going to renew them with the Dash instead. Spend that money on the Dash. Save a little bit of money in the process because Dash is cheaper anyways. And enjoy yourself at a venue that's the same venue the Dynamo play in, the same atmosphere the Dynamo play in. And while you're at it, go ahead and hang out with the Surge, the Dash supporters as they are, and enjoy a little bit of drumline every once in a while. Enjoy a little bit of the alcohol along with us, and trust me, you will never be the same for it. And I'll say this: we've done, we had our sweet night this year with the Dash at a Dash match, and it was phenomenal. It was a lot of fun. Shout out to those who went. The Search have shown up to every Dash home match in some way, shape, or form. They've had representatives there.
Shout out to Hattie.
Shout out to Hattie for the hard work that he's put in this season.
Sure.
Definitely deserving of that shout out for sure. Let's not lose sight of the fact that Hattie was also able to secure bringing in a group of drummers to kind of participate as Dash drummers, if you will, that have kind of connected with and united with the supporters groups to help elevate that atmosphere even more. And if you haven't been out to a match to hear them play, trust me, you need to get out to a match to hear them play. But beyond that, beyond just the Dash, which again, huge. I love that they are playing so well right now. I have followed them since the inception of the club back in 2015, I believe it was, and have just been waiting for that moment when the club would turn, the team would turn the corner. And I feel like we're right at that point, clearly vying for a playoff spot with not a lot of matches left to go. But I think the other thing that is important is, they struggled at the start, right? So they set this lower expectation, and I've talked about this with the Dynamo, but by setting a lower expectation, seasons like this, when the team is playing well, it is just a different feeling. It is another level feeling. Now, the Dynamo could have a similar type of season, and at this point, because of how bad they've been for 10 plus years, we would enjoy the hell out of it. But I think there is something to be said, that the expectation level is different for the Dash than it is for the Dynamo right now. And I think, fairly so, because the Dynamo have put themselves and dug themselves such a hole that I don't think they can dig out of. But beyond that, the Dash have elevated themselves that now the expectation is going to be there. You got to be competitive, year in, year out. You got to be vying not only for playoffs year in, year out. And again, they haven't even made the playoffs yet. There's still a few matches left, but they're at that level right now. And that level needs to continue. And I believe that with Juan Carlos Amoros at the helm, with the announcement of Alex Stringer coming in as Dash GM, and Sarah Loudon on the sideline as assistant coach, and the players that they have right now, the core that they've built for this with this roster, I have no doubt that this team can be competitive, for the playoffs and into the playoffs. Look, this is a team that legitimately should be vying for the playoffs next 3 or 4 seasons in a row. And in the NWSL, that is nothing to disregard, nothing to turn a blind eye to. And it's up to fans to go out and support the team, support the club, and show that, the Dynamo may be sucking, but at least the Dash are a good team, and they deserve our money, they deserve our focus, they deserve our support and our attention. You all know that. I'm sure you've all heard me talk about that multiple times. But it's time to get on the Dash bandwagon, because there's not a lot of matches left, and when playoffs hit, if you're not on that bandwagon by that point, there'll still be room for you. It's just going to be at the very, very back of the line. So get on while you can, is all I'm saying.
And just to have playoffs at PNC Stadium, man, that's going to be a nice atmosphere. It's the ladies deserve all the love and attention that they get, and plus more, to be honest. They've been great as far as like events, as far as interacting with fans and supporters. They've been awesome. I mean, they've done everything they can from their standpoint to let themselves, know that they're here for the city. They support the city, and they're playing their hearts out for the badge and for the city, representing the city to the fullest. So they deserve all our respect and love that they can get.
100%. Well, I wish there was more to talk about with the Dash, but there's not. So we'll move on from the Dash. Let's talk about the other winning. Wait, you got more?
I mean, we just hired a new GM.
I said that. I said that just in that statement.
Oh, did you? Oh, man. I was looking at something real quick that popped up on my screen, and I guess I must have missed that. But yeah, shout out to Miss Singer. Coming into the dash, hopefully she can help, obviously propel to the dash to being title contenders and that for years coming on, whatever. Just stay away from the core values.
Yeah. I don't know if y'all saw this. I'm sure most of you in the chat have, but those that are listening after the fact may not have. She did an interview or had some quotes from after the press conference where they introduced her. And one of the quotes had the words core values in it. And I think everybody in the Surge chat, when that was shared in the Surge chat, we all just literally cringed. I felt the cringe. It was a group cringe. It was just so... We've heard that term, and it just doesn't taste good anymore. Like, it's just such
it's like saying F you.
Yeah, it really is. Like, it's so bad.
It's like F you.
I was waiting to see if maybe she'd bust out the buckets or, something like that, because that was a Matt Jordan thing. We got these buckets of things that we're looking for, and, so many different things. But yeah, I genuinely, she is a good person. She has a lot of experience in terms of not necessarily general manager, but in terms of front office, in terms of as a former player, she can build those relationships. She has a very deep network with a lot of former coaches, a lot of existing coaches, former players, existing players, et cetera, et cetera. So it's definitely a great hire. And with someone like Juan Carlos Amoros, who I have to imagine is also telling this individual who he wants on the team, or at least what positions to fill. That's the perfect type of situation where she can come in and she can work with Juan Carlos, and they can build an even better roster than the one we have now. And to your point about the best teams in MLS continue to improve season over season, they don't wait until the end of the season to make necessary moves or to make moves to get better, even if they're already the best team in the league. I think the same thing needs to be true of the Dash. We can't afford, when the winter window comes up at the end of the season, to just go, oh, well, the team was good enough, we'll have the same team next year. No, there's going to be players that are available because you talked about it, you have Juan Carlos Amoros, so why not try to go after some of those bigger name players and see if they might be tempted to make the move?
And not just that, obviously with great players come great responsibility let's take a Spider-Man quote there.
We'll call it the Mark paraphrase version of it.
You see Solomon obviously going to the England national team. You see our Canadians go to their national team and stuff like that. So we're going to have more international players here who are going to be selected by their international teams because the Dash is going to be a great squad to play off. The Dash should be aiming to be the Barcelona of this side of the pond, to be the Lyons of this side of the pond, whatever great team that you see across the way in Europe. For women's side, they need to aspire to be that, and I think they're doing a great job. Like I said, look, Ebony's going to the English national team. What do? Hey, let's go grab a French international, to replace her. That's not that, let's go do this, let's go do that, whatever. It doesn't matter. Look, next woman up. When one leaves to go do whatever she got to go do, the next one gets their chance, and she's gonna hold it down, for a town like that, like they're supposed to, and they're gonna do the damn thing. But please, somebody out there, whoever, if somebody's listening here that has a little bit of connection to the Dash front office and to Miss Singer, please let her know that core values is a curse word to us.
Yes, please. I will make sure. I know some people, so I'll make sure that gets over there.
Hattie or Jake, please, let them know.
I'm gonna reach out to Jen Cooper. I'm gonna get that word out there real quick.
Core values is like a curse word to us, please. I don't want to hear it anymore. It's a dagger.
That's right.
I'm gonna take it as she didn't know.
She didn't know. There's no way she could have known. No way.
She was trolling us, but yes, I felt cringe when I saw that.
I legitimately know if she were to come out like next week and be laughing at the start of her press conference and be like, all right, guys, I got to share. That was actually a troll job. The fans know what it's about. Core values is not the thing, not the thing. Legitimately, she would win over every fan, period. Like, that would be the absolute greatest. Anyways, sure. All right, enough on the Dash. I do want to talk Dynados, but before we get to Dynados, we're going to run out of time on Dynados, so we're going to do, it'll be close. Actually, let's do Dynados. We'll do Dynados real quick, and then we're going to get to predictions. So let's talk Dynados.
Let's talk.
They're great. They're one of the best teams in the league.
Those kids, look, man. It's funny because obviously this is the first season of this MLS Next League, whatever. You're gonna have players bouncing both ways from the first team to this second team or whatever. And, we've seen a lot of players score and do great things with the time and the opportunity that they've been given. A lot of those players have been given opportunities to represent their countries in youth tournaments and things like that, and friendlies and all that great stuff, which is the whole purpose of that, right? Because you have these kids that range from anywhere from 16 to 20 years old playing full games, getting minutes. Some of them appearing on the first team squad, not being selected, but appearing on the first team sheet for match days, and getting that experience underneath their belts. But it's great. I think this has been a huge success for MLS with this MLS Next League, and I can't wait for it to be more stabilized next year, and maybe have a better understanding of it as far as being able to have a little bit more wiggle room between the two clubs. Obviously we couldn't do anything about having a player like Brooklyn, who we legit can't wait to see him in the Dynamo first team. But obviously there's things that are blocking that, and we understand that, and we understand those rules. But as far as other players like Palomino, Castillas, Papa Gunitu, players like that, obviously having them have more of a clear pathway to getting up here, because obviously when you think you have a squad that sucks as much as the Dynamo first team does, you would think these players would have much more of a chance to get in the team and pitch it and play a little bit more for the first club. But obviously I don't think the same way as others, but I don't know. Who knows? Maybe there's other people who think the same way I do.
There's definitely people that think the same way you do. There's been plenty of people that have called for, why are you not playing the youth? I mean, I think at this point in the season, what do you have to lose? Unless your whole goal is we want Dynados to have, to finish out their season as strong as possible. We don't want to pluck their players because they're playing really well. They're building that chemistry. And maybe that's 9 of the players, that we bring up are Dynados players for next season. And that's all good and well, but I also have to think that you can't just rely solely on that, right? But with that said, yeah, Dynados absolutely playing really, really well currently in MLS Next Pro. To Evil's point, they can still pass North Texas for third in the West. They were in second in the West for a few weeks there. But then there were call-ups and there were other things that shifted a little bit of that chemistry, and you could see the impact of that. But with that being said, you guys need to also get out to Aviva Stadium. It was brought up earlier that Aviva Stadium for Dynados matches is absolutely rocking. If you can't make it out to Aviva Stadium, no problem. Just hit them up on MLSNextPro.com. All matches are streamed live on MLSNextPro.com. And even though the stream quality is not the greatest, it's kind of like watching a U.S. Open Cup sometimes. It is still at least enjoyable to watch a team that actually wins, even if it's in low quality, to at least see a team that wins. And can we give a shout out to the boy, Marcelo Palomino, who continues to score free kick goals? I don't know about you, Mark, but that is something the Dynamo certainly could use on their squad. But apparently Paulo Nagamura does not agree.
I mean, if you got somebody that's scoring goals off a set piece and you get set pieces all the time, you don't do anything with them. I mean, it seems like a 1 + 1 = 2 type of deal.
I mean, it seems like an easy choice to me. But hey, we're not coach. We're not
coaches. We're not professionals here. We do this for fun. We're just two fellas out here.
Hey, but Pat, if you want somebody to take over the club because you're tired of Paulo Nagamura, hit me up. My cell phone's free.
Hey, call me up. But with that being said, I mean, as far as the Dynados, obviously I know the Surge go out there and support them. Have a look out on their social medias. I think they're going to have a tailgate here pretty soon for the Dynados. So maybe, a couple of you guys who have been a little bit hesitant about going, whatever, go for that. I mean, you can remember the last time we had a tailgate, it was a fun deal. I mean, I'm not saying it's going to get to that level, but just tailgating in general is a great way to, gather up people who have the same passion, the same love for the club that you do. So, just come out, and those guys will be very happy to see you and offer you whatever they have, whether it's, drinks, alcoholic or non-alcoholic, and whatever food they might be cooking up. So.
And can we also give a shout out to the players at Dynados who will actually acknowledge the supporters at the end of a match?
Yeah.
Ooh, is that too soon? Should I not have said that? Is that poking the bear? With that said, with about 14 minutes left in the show, it is time for, yes, folks, a sponsored segment. We want to thank our sponsor, Golasso.media. for sponsoring the prediction segment of Generation Orange. Took me a while to remember the name of our show. Of Generation Orange. Check out golasso.media. You guys can pick up merchandise. They have. I love the style of the loteria kind of cards on shirts and t-shirts and mugs and long sleeve shirts and tank tops and bags and they got all sorts of stuff. And there's some really cool ones on there. There's some kind of that look like Dash players, that look like Dynamo players. There's one for El Cientifico. There's one for La Bambi. There's one for El Salmon, which I love, by the way. I think that's a great shout out. I will probably personally be looking to get the La Bambi one. I love that. I think that's a great shout out to the best current Dynamo or Dash player. Oh, that's right. I said that and went there. I mean, let's be real. Yeah. Results matter. Results matter in this poll, baby. Yeah, huge shout out to them for sponsoring the segment. Make sure you guys check them out. Golasso.media. You can see the URLs on the screen underneath the thanks to our sponsor. Huge shout out. We do appreciate it. And they will be sponsoring us moving forward for this segment every week. We want to do predictions every week. This is a great reminder to us to do predictions every week.
Yes,
so Mark, we've got at least 2 matches that I know of to predict: Dynamo and Dash. Is there a Dynados match that we need to do a prediction for?
Possibly. We probably won't have a show next week because obviously next week will be the LAFC Dynamo match on Wednesday. So I know a lot of you guys will be out there, myself included. We obviously got this weekend's match against Minnesota to predict, and obviously the LAFC match. We have the Dash coming up against off the top of my head, I can't remember, but we'll look it up. Obviously, that's what we have the internet for. But
Preach.
but this is going to be a whole bunch of soccer going on this weekend. Obviously, Washington Spirit. That's what it was. And we should be out there supporting the guys and girls. But yeah, Sean, let's start off with you want to start off with the ladies? You want to start off with the guys?
Let's start off with the bad one first, and then we'll work our way to the good ones.
Okay. So Dynamo play this Saturday against Minnesota United. It's an early game. So, you get the rest of your weekend to enjoy. I think, if I'm not mistaken, the Surge will be out at the Phoenix from I can't remember. I don't know. Either the Phoenix or Eureka Heights, one of the two. I'm sure that the Dynamo will have their official watch party at Pitch 25 and all and all that good stuff. So Minnesota United versus Houston Dynamo at 2:30 this Saturday. Sean, your predictions at Minnesota.
At Minnesota. Oh, that's an easy L, right? Being truthful, being real. In all seriousness, Minnesota's a really good team. They've got some really great players, and the Dynamo don't right now, other than a couple of players, but they're not good enough apparently. So yeah, I'm envisioning this as like a 2-0 loss. I think Minnesota wins this one 2-0.
Okay, it's not very predictable.
Hey, look, I'm a real one, if nothing else. Okay.
Hey, we keep it real.
Dynados do not have a bye. They play Minnesota 2 on Saturday on the 27th. I just looked it up on the schedule, just so you know, Rob.
Well, okay. So
we'll get to that. I'm just letting you know because I saw that he said that.
Yeah, Dylan Whoppers Derby.
The Dylan Whoppers Derby.
I'm gonna go 3-1. I think the Dynamo do score a goal. I'm hoping it's Sebas again. I'm hoping that Sebas scores as many goals as possible for this team, so that way whoever coaches the team next year can understand to not put this guy on the bench and have him written on the team sheet first and foremost before anybody else. So I'm gonna go 3-1 Minnesota with Sebas scoring our lone goal.
Sebas scoring a lone goal. I think it said own goal. I was like, ooh.
No, lone.
Yeah. I said 2-0 Minnesota. I got nobody scoring. I will say this. I said that I thought you said own goal. I actually do think that we get an own goal. Like, that is one of the 2 goals that we give up.
Hurry up. Who scores it?
Vera.
I was going to say Parker.
I think Parker in the box is better about making sure that at least when he kicks it out, it's not towards goal. Vera's already had an own goal on the season, so I could see it happening again.
We'll see. Okay. Well, let's see. Well, maybe there'll be an own goal, or maybe,
Yeah.
I'll buy you lunch if it's Vera. You buy me lunch if it's Parker.
Sure. Hey, I'm down for that. Yeah, let's do it.
Do you want to continue with LAFC or do you want to go Dash?
No, we'll go LAFC. I don't want to save that till later because that gets worse. Come
Okay.
on, I told you we got to go.
So-
we got to get worse before we get better. That's what the Dynamo keeps telling me.
So next Wednesday, midweek game or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, midweek match
against let's call it. They're going to be the Supporter Shield winners. LAFC coming in with Carlos Vela. Hopefully, they come in with Gareth Bale and all the stars that they have on their team. All the power that they have. Coming Wednesday into PNC Stadium. What's funny about this game, Sean? That I'm actually expecting it to be full. I'm actually expecting it to be pretty damn near close to a sellout for a Wednesday game because just because I don't know. People are, like I said, when people come out of the woodworks and start calling me and asking me about Dynamo, that's when I can expect, because when there's going to be a full crowd. They call me when obviously the FC Frisco game for Hector Herrera. They called me about what was the other game? I can't remember what the next home game was for that one. And those games were full. Full stadium games. And I've had people call me for this one, and man, like, they've really been calling me for this one. A lot of people have a lot of love for Carlos Vela. A lot of people, Madrid fans, Spurs fans, love Gareth Bale. A lot of Italian fans, Juventus fans, love Chiellini.
Yeah.
So there's when you have a roster full of stars and playmakers, people are gonna come out and see them. Who knew?
Yeah.
But man, it's gonna be.
Wait for your prediction.
Man, I think
my prediction will actually surprise you.
I think it's gonna be 4-2 LAFC.
Okay, all right.
Four goals.
You ready for this?
All right.
7-5.
Oh my God.
7-5. Hold up. 7-5 LAFC.
7-5.
7-5.
First, I can't even take you seriously because you think the Dynamo are going to score 5 goals.
No. Hear me out. The
Dynamo score 5 goals in 5 weeks.
I know. I get it. I understand that. This is one of those matches that I think that it doesn't take, like, Paulo Nagamura is not going to have anything to do with this match, right? Like, it doesn't matter. I hope he gets a red card in the Minnesota match so that he's not on the sideline against LAFC. Because, hear me out, it's the type of match that, it's a trap match for LAFC. It's a midweek match, so they're going to be exhausted just like we will be. They're having to travel. We're not. I mean, we are traveling back from Minnesota, but that's a lot better coming home. We're going to have the home fan support to some extent behind us to some extent. But also beyond that, I definitely can feel that kind of wavering a little bit as I was saying it myself. But beyond that, I also think it's one of those matches that the players look at it. It's one of the best teams in the league. Yeah, you get up for a match like that. It doesn't matter what the situation is. You get up for a match like that. So I don't know. I just have this weird feeling it's going to be high scoring. Okay, 7-5 might be a little bit overboard. I only went 7-5 because I do think the Dynamo score a large number of goals, way more than we're used to. Maybe it's more like 5-4, something like that. But I don't think, and I know this sounds crazy, I don't think 7 goals for LAFC with the team that they've built. I don't think that's out of the league of possibility.
No. I mean, look, Philly put 6 on this.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if LAFC came into PNC fully focused and determined, and didn't stoop to our level, 7 goals by LAFC, I could believe it. The 5 goals by Dynamo is where it's a laughable matter. Like I said, they haven't scored 5 goals in 5 weeks. So, I mean, it's it's one of those things where, it's whatever, But I understand what you're saying. The fact of the matter is that, LAFC is going to play a lot more freely because they're not going to have as much respect for the Dynamo as they would if they were going against.
Yep, exactly. Exactly that.
So, but that's why I went 4-2 because obviously I think LAFC are going to score their goals. They're going to put the foot on our necks as quickly as possible to try to get this game done as quickly as possible. But then obviously, with the Dynamo being open flowing and all this stuff and the defense not being what it should be for LAFC because they're going to be a little bit more chill with it. I can see the Dynamo scoring 2 goals, regardless if it's garbage time or whatever. And like I said, I hope it's a Sebas brace because I just want Sebas to score all the goals from here on out because that man deserves recognition. But yeah, with that being said, yeah, 4-2, and like I said, that crowd it might be pro LAFC.
I'm starting to rethink that.
I'm not gonna say fully. I'm gonna say about maybe a good 35 to 45% LAFC crowd, or LAFC base crowd, because obviously some people will be there to support Gareth Bale as a player.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it'll be more like 50% neutral, like 30% Dynamo, and then like 20% actually LAFC. I think that's
all I know is I expect about 3 or 4 hugs from Herrera and Vela.
That number seems a little low. I'm not gonna lie. That number seems a little low. I mean, because you got hold up. You got before kickoff, like during the warm ups. You got at kickoff before the match kicks off. You have anytime there's a stoppage. You have halftime, but when we leave it to go to the tunnel, and on the way back from coming out of the tunnel, and then after kickoff or after halftime is over, you have that after the match, swapping of jerseys and that sort of thing. That's gonna happen.
Yeah, but I mean, it just depends on how badly they disrespect us. So
to be fair, they're gonna disrespect us. It's a matter of how bad you are. You are 100% spot on.
If we get disrespected, we're gonna, hopefully somebody might step up and be like, no, I don't want to swap jerseys.
Now let me ask this question. We're running out of time, but I'm gonna ask this question anyways. I just want to tease you with this. What if the Dynamo come out and win this match?
I mean, great, but it's one of those, it's one of those things like,
it's too little, too late, right?
People, you'll have a little bit of people be like, oh, well, what if? I mean, look what this team could do if they only focused and got up for every match like they did against LAFC. But you know what? But when people say that, you know who that faults on the coach for not getting the team prepared. Because how can a team play against the best team in the league, but can't play like that against the shittiest team in the squad in the league either?
Yep.
You don't have the discipline, and that falls directly on the coach and the coaching staff.
All right, so you said 4-2, I said 7-5. I'm gonna tell you who my 5 goals are from. You ready for this? It's gonna be a brace for Sebas. It's gonna be a brace for El Científico, and it is going to be a goal for Thor in stoppage time, trying to come back.
God of Thunder.
All right, so let's move on from Dynamo. We got 2 minutes left.
All right, let's go.
Who are they playing again? Washington Spirit?
Washington Spirit.
Are they playing in Washington? No, they're playing at home.
They're playing, I'll tell you right now, at home.
At home. What's your prediction?
You give me yours first. I went first with the Dynamo.
I'm going to go 3-1 dash.
3-1 dash? Do you want to name your scores?
I'm going to go a brace for Shea Groom, and the third goal will be from Maria.
Is Ebony going to be for that game?
I think she might already be gone for that. That's why I'm saying that. If she's around for that match, then I'm changing my Shea Groom brace to a brace for Ebony and a solo goal for Maria Sanchez at some point in the match.
Yeah, see, this I feel like this game should be a rout because, you're playing against a team that's only won once the whole season.
But they got a new coach. No, they just let their coach go. Never mind. Sorry.
Yeah.
Different.
So, it's 5-1 dash.
Damn. I wouldn't be opposed to that.
5-1 dash. With Ebony or without her.
Yeah, that's fair. All right. That's dash. Dynados against Minnesota 2 on Wednesday.
3-0.
Dynados, I'm assuming?
Of course.
You know what? I'm going to go, depending on who's available, because this is important, but I'm going to go, call it a gut feeling. I'm going to go 5-1 Dynados.
Minnesota United stuck that much?
They're not that great of a team, to be honest. They're really not.
3-0. I feel comfortable.
I feel like LaFleur is going to have a brace. I feel like Jacob Evans is going to have a goal. I feel like Papa's going to have a goal. And then the 5th goal is going to come off a Marcelo free kick if he's still available.
Marcelo and his free kicks, man. Shout out to that guy, man. I hope he gets an opportunity with us.
So that was our prediction segment brought to you by Golasso.media. Check them out, Golasso.media. Get your Dynamo Dash gear. Only place you can get the Dynamo Dash player-specific gear, I guess is the best way to put it. And enjoy the Loteria style. I think it's amazing. Huh?
Dynamo Dash themed.
Yeah, themed. Yeah. Player themed, if you will. Player themed. Yeah. But go support them. Great sponsors of the show. We appreciate the love and the support from those guys. That's been the segment. I gotta work on that transition a little bit.
We
It's the
gotta
first
work on
week,
that
guys.
transition, but
H-Dog
guys,
first week.
obviously we're at the end of the show. It's 9:01. We passed over for a minute, so it's a new thing with us. So just we'll try to make it more smoother next time. But obviously, we appreciate the love and support that y'all give us every time we get on. And shout out to everybody on the YouTube, shout out to everybody on Twitch, and shout out to everybody who's going to watch it later on. But like always, we're going to keep on holding it down for H-Town.